Chapter 45-26. Out of Bounds. Wind Sanctuary. On a cantilevered cliff, a handsome young man in a green robe was surrounded by 6 people. Among the 6 people, there are young people, middle-aged people, and old people. Including the youth in Qingpao, they are all disciples of a nearby semi-holy force, Langyajanga, but looking at the current posture, they are obviously fighting in the same room. The wind is blowing. Among the 6, one of the old men looked at the young man in green robes surrounded by them with a grin. You are really amazing. Just the middle god, you have mastered the 4th order swordsmanship. You can master the 4th order swordsmanship with this level of cultivation. I am afraid you have a lot of adventures? Say it, how about sharing with us senior brothers? After speaking, the old man's eyes were full of greed. The same goes for the other 5. The wind is blowing. A middle-aged man said with a sneer, don't try to spread the news in vain. We have already set up an interference formation here, just to wait for you to enter the urn. Now, you are calling Tian not and Earth not working. You are only in the middle of the gods, and you are valued by the Deputy Pavilion. Feng Qingyang, you are really amazing. Now, how do you understand the secret of the 4th order swordsmanship before you reach the upper gods? Follow us talk about it? Feng Qingyang, those who know the current affairs are Jun Xie. The young man in green robe is Duan Lingshan's master, and the wind is light. After he left the anti-god realm back then and came to a place outside the realm, he went all the way to the vicinity of the Langyajanga area. When he was beheading a big monster, the Deputy Pavilion Master of Langya Sword Pavilion happened to pass by. Seeing his amazing swordsmanship, he sent an invitation to him to enter Langya Sword Pavilion. To know, at that time he was just a lower god. And the Deputy Pavilion Master of Langya Sword Pavilion is the existence of the 4th rank of Xion. The other party did not propose to accept Feng Qingyang as his disciple, because Feng Qingyang was showing the 4th order kendo at that time, and the Deputy Pavilion Master of Langyajanga also had the 4th order kendo. He gets along with Feng Qingyang, more of an equal exchange. And he, without knowing that Feng Qingyang hid most of the kendo, in the process of communicating with Feng Qingyang, the kendo entered the realm very quickly. Because of this, he valued Feng Qingyang more and more. It also collected many treasures from heaven and earth to improve Feng Qingyang's cultivation. Therefore, in a short time, Feng Qingyang stepped into the middle god. Even now, it is not far from the realm of the upper gods. Feng Qingyang did not expect that someone would have the idea of playing his own kendo. Also, do you think his kendo came from some kind of chance encounter? Are these people out of their minds? Or did jealousy drive them completely crazy and irrational? Even if he got the kendo of today because of chance and adventure, can that process be able to be shared with others? Perhaps, they didn't intend to let me leave today, whether they gained anything or not. The wind whispered softly. Among these 6 people, there was one person who he felt was just a little familiar at first. Now, after thinking about it, he suddenly realized. Wasn't it the twin brother of the disciple of Langya Sword Pavilion who had conflicted with him and was bestowed to death by the Deputy Pavilion Master in Langya Sword Pavilion? 6 upper gods, surround me with a middle god. What a big battle! Facing the siege of 6 people, Feng Qingyang's expression remained unchanged, and he smiled lightly, as if there was nothing in the world which could make his mood fluctuate. Feng Qingyang, sensible people, tell us why your swordsmanship is improving so fast. A young man asked in a cold voice. Feng Qingyang, if you don't want to die, you'd better cooperate. Another middle-aged man also said. Feng Qingyang still smiled. Everyone, even if you didn't plan to let me leave alive? If I leave, even if you have gained something today, do you plan to leave Langya Sword Pavilion forever? Are you not afraid that I will sue you on the side of the Deputy Pavilion Master? Since I didn't intend to leave me alive, why should I cooperate with you? Hearing Feng Qingyang's words, the expressions of the 6 people changed. Feng Qingyang, if you cooperate, we can let you die quickly. Otherwise, we will slowly torture you to death, and finally let you die. The old man gritted his teeth and threatened. Feng Qingyang was still smiling. Really? So, I'll wait and see. Hearing Feng Qingyang's words, the 6 of them couldn't hold back any longer. They all shot and killed Xiang Feng Qingyang. Even if Feng Qingyang is only the middle god, they still don't dare to be careless, because when Feng Qingyang was in Langyajianga, he did not defeat the upper god. In the face of the 6 people's shots, Feng Qingyang sighed, "Since you are looking for death, I will fulfill you." The voice fell, but Feng Qingyang didn't see any movement. The green robe on his body moved, and a fierce and unparalleled aura swept up from him. In an instant, the surrounding air, and even all the rocks on the cliff, turned into sharp swords, gathered into 10,000 swords, and gathered towards him. "Go towards the siege of the 6. Call out, call out, call out, call out, call out." The inexhaustible sound of sword chirping sounded, and the 6 people had just set off for a distance, far away from the wind, but their eyes were lost, and their bodies fell into the air. But their whole bodies were pierced by countless Dao-sharp swords, as if 10,000 swords pierced their hearts. Feng Qingyang moved and left. A rippling ripple swept across his feet. The next moment, the 6 corpses were covered, then gradually decayed, and finally turned into dust and ashes, scattered with the wind, as if they had never appeared. The law of time, it is not far from being completely integrated into my swordsmanship. Once integrated, my law of time can step into the realm of great perfection. The median is repaired, the 7th order swordsmanship, and the law of time re-enters the realm of great perfection. Apart from me, who else is there? With an indifferent smile, Feng Qingyang turned into a gust of wind and headed towards Langyajianga. He didn't know until he came to the outer lands. The time sword inheritance he got, the time sword, is so amazing. However, his current achievements, compared to the time sword of the past, are not inferior. At best, his cultivation is not as good as the time sword at that time. The sword of time was already the strongest at that time. However, his swordsmanship has surpassed the original time sword. Of course, the law of time is even worse. When the sword of time of those years fell, the law of time was perfect, and Kendo erased the 7th order threshold. When Kendo was about to enter the 7th order, the punishment came. Time's sword almost died under the punishment of heaven. At a critical moment, relying on the environment of the Azura Hell in the anti-god realm, and self-destructing the way of swordsmanship, he escaped the catastrophe, but he also ran out of fuel and lost his former glory. Don't be in a hurry to step into the realm of the upper gods. According to what the senior sword of time said, the 4 realms of heaven and earth, once they step into the 7th order and the realm of great perfection together with the law, they will usher in unprecedented punishment. Heavenly punishment is based on cultivation. The higher the cultivation, the stronger. After the historical separation, no one above the upper gods can make the 4 worlds step into the 7th order at the same time, and the law is perfect. Even before the historical partition, none of the most powerful people could do that, and there were very few high-ranking gods. Before the historical partition, most people completed the most critical step in front of the upper gods. Because of knowing this, therefore, even if Feng Qingyang has recently been enough to step into the realm of high-ranking gods, he still suppresses his cultivation. Because he wants to imitate the predecessors before the historical partition, and face the punishment that is enough to lay the foundation of the 7th rank of the strongest. Senior Time Sword, it was only before his death that he realized this. It's a pity that the land outside the world and even the contemporary world doesn't seem to realize this. Otherwise, there will be no Xeon 7th order existence so far. The wind let out a sigh. At the same time, he had returned to Langya Sword Pavilion. In Langya Sword Pavilion, he was just a genius disciple who was gifted in swordsmanship, but had an ordinary talent in law. Because of good luck, he was valued by the deputy pavilion master. He too enjoys this identity. Before the punishment comes, it is good to be a little transparent and keep a low profile. Chapter 45-27. However, in this Langya Sword Pavilion, it is estimated that I won't be able to stay for too long. My law of time will soon be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship. When the law is complete, the punishment of heaven will surely be earth-shattering. It's better to find a place to transcend the calamity. Let's go back to the Azura Hell in the God-defying realm. There are many fierce places in the anti-God realm, including Azura Hell. There are many places that reveal mysteries. It is suspected that they were left behind before the historical partition. When I pass the punishment, the law of time is perfect, the 7th rank of swordsmanship, and then step into the upper gods, I will explore those places. Feng Qingyang had already planned to leave Langya Sword Pavilion and return to the anti-God realm. I don't know. Shan, how is it now? Thinking of his own disciple Duan Lingtian, Feng Qingyang couldn't help sighing. His disciple, he has carried too many things in his life. Not like him, alone. After I have passed the punishment, I will enter the realm of high-ranking gods again. As long as I consolidate my cultivation, I will soon usher in the call of the supernatural realm. At that time, as long as I meet the call, I will be able to be promoted directly to super strong. At that time, I may also become a place outside the world, and even the contemporary world, the first existence of the Xuqiang 7th Order above the saints. What happened in the end, so that the cultivators after the historical partition have all gone down the wrong path. They stepped into the realm of the high-ranking gods early, they were dissatisfied with the laws, the 4 worlds were ordinary, and they welcomed the call of the super-powerful realm. If you reject the call of the Xian realm, and wait until their laws and the 4 realms of heaven and earth are improved, they may not be able to find an opportunity to step into the Xian realm. The wind let out a sigh. Xiaotian, there is a high probability that he has stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods now. It is a wrong path. However, with his good fortune, even if he takes the wrong path, he may not be as mediocre as those people. The separation of history is really terrifying. It not only separated 2 eras, but also caused the practitioners of this era to go down the wrong path. Perhaps, it is also because of the abundance of spiritual energy in this era, which enables them to step into the realm of high-ranking gods in various ways in a very short period of time. Before the historical partition, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth did not seem to be very abundant. Many lower-ranking gods and middle-ranking gods have mastered the laws of the Great Perfection realm. There are gains and losses, there are losses and gains. This may be the reincarnation of heaven. The wind sighed softly. If I were to exist at the 7th rank of the Xian, I should be able to relieve the imprisonment of the souls of the Soul clan members of the Xian clan for my daughter-in-law, Kier, and forget about Xiaoshen's worries. For him, it must be a big surprise. Now, he still doesn't know where he is in the Outer Lands. Is he fighting for it? With the cultivation level of the median god, to comprehend the law to the Great Perfection, and the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level, it is indeed an incredible thing for contemporary people. How many people have stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods with a cultivation base, and the laws have not even comprehended the realm of small perfection, and the 4 realms of heaven and earth may not even have comprehended the prototype? Did they not think to do it? Obviously not. But why do so few people do that? Because of the 1,000-year catastrophe. After the realm of the king, the 1,000-year tribulation will come. If your strength is not improved, the 1,000-year tribulation will be stronger every time. When you are in the middle of the gods and face the 1,000-year calamity that may make you die, it is to continue to pursue the law of no hope, the 4 realms of heaven and earth, or choose to be promoted to the realm of the upper gods immediately. The answer is obvious. Choose the first way. If you fail, you will die. The second way is steady. And between the historical partitions, after the realm of the king, although there is also a catastrophe. However, the calamity they face is once every 10,000 years, not once in 1,000 years, just like the 10,000-year calamity faced by the supreme powers of this era. This has also led to the fact that cultivators before the historical partition could have enough time to comprehend the 4 realms of heaven and earth, as well as the profound meaning of laws. In contemporary times, there are only 2 ways to become the 8th tier Xian. The first way is to be like the wind, with extraordinary talent, and the way of Kendo against the sky. Before the upper gods, cultivate the way of Kendo to the 7th rank. Then, Try to integrate the laws you are good at into Kendo, integrate with Kendo, and go hand in hand. Of course, if you only rely on Feng Qingyang yourself and want to completely integrate the laws that you are good at into Kendo, there will be no progress until you first come. The reason why he entered the realms so quickly was because he obtained the inheritance left by the Sword of Time, which made him take a lot less detours on the road of integrating the law of time into Kendo. Otherwise, when the 1,000-year calamity that can threaten him arrives, he may not be able to approach the last step, let alone take the last step. Just as Feng Qingyang thought, as long as he is in the realm of the median and fully integrates the law of time into swordsmanship, the law of time can be promoted to the realm of great perfection in one fell swoop. At that time, there will also be divine punishment for those who gather the great perfection law and the seventh order heaven and earth as one. Because Feng Qingyang is only a middle-ranking god, the punishment he will face is a god-rank punishment. With his strength, there is almost no danger to pass through. And once it passes, he can be promoted to the realm of the upper gods. When you reach the upper gods, you can also sense the exchange of the supreme realm normally, and you can directly be promoted to the strong. Instead of rejecting the call of the strongest, like his disciple Duan Lingtian, he continued to study the law, continued to study the swordsmanship, and went down the wrong path. Historical break. It can be said that it is not only history that has been broken, but also the seventh order road to the top of the cultivators in this world. Duan Lingtian, of course, did not know. His master has already touched the threshold of the 8th rank of Xian. Now he is in the place of return to the ruins left by the Xian 7th order existence before the historical partition where Bibo Tianfu was looking for someone to enter, and is shrouded by the huge sword beam power that descended from the sky. The figures in front of him were all crushed, turned into powder, and died. When that power came to him, he thought that he would die too. However, what he didn't expect was that after that force enveloped his body, it did not continue to press down. At the same time, a surprised old voice resounded and echoed in his ears. Kendo has reached the threshold of the 7th order? You are also good at the laws of space? Ha! After waiting for so many years, it's finally here. Chapter 45:28. The voice coming from his ear made Duan Lingshan's heart tremble. In this place of return to the ruins, who can still have such terrifying strength, except for those who left this place of return to the ruins, who were the strong men above the 7th rank before the historical partition. Here, there is no way for the strongest to come in. And if it is not the strongest, the strength is at most comparable to him, how can he imprison his body, and the sound comes, making his soul seem to tremble. It's not in vain that I tried my last effort to reopen the market. I didn't expect that the person I wanted to wait for finally came. The age is also in line with, and can even be said to be perfect. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian looked confused, and a subconscious thought was, this old guy wouldn't want to take him away? It's not that he has never encountered the scene of taking a house, and even just a few days from the Earth's mundane plane and crossed to the sanctuary plane, he was almost taken away by the reincarnation martial emperor. It's just that at that time, because of the restrictions between the worldly planes, the other party couldn't help his soul. And now, this old man is obviously a super strong man before the historical partition. If he wants to take away himself, I am afraid that there are no rules that can restrict him, right? The way of heaven is not benevolent, and it treats all things as cud dogs. I have no space for the old man, but I don't believe in evil. If I don't believe it, I can't break your bullshit. I'm already powerless, but I can train a descendant. Back then, before heaven and earth were destroyed and returned to chaos, although I and them were enclosed in their own ruins, my choice was different from theirs. They choose to leave some of their own things behind before they die, so that there can be traces of them after the world reopens. As for me, I chose to seal my memories, leaving nothing behind, and even let all the valuable treasures, even power, be smashed and integrated into my return to the ruins, so that my return to the ruins could be opened 3 times in succession. Today, I finally met someone who meets my requirements. Tian Dao, I'm curious, will you be able to force me to a desperate situation in the future, and force my descendants to a desperate situation. My heirs will definitely be better than blue. Ha! Ha ha! When one after another, loud laughter echoed in Duan Lingshan's ears. Soon he lost consciousness. When he woke up again, I found that I had appeared in a simple-looking stone house. Where is this? What happened? In the stone house, there are beds and tables. Spotless. Suddenly, Duan Lingshan's expression changed, and he covered his head with his hands. At this moment, he finally remembered what happened before he fell into a coma. That old age seemed to have a hysterical voice. Even at this time, there was a huge memory, like an endless ocean, pouring into Duan Lingshan's original memory that was like a river. In an instant, Duan Lingtian only felt a splitting headache. This feeling lasted for a while before it stabilized. This is... Duan Lingshan's pupils glared round in the next instant. This is the strong man who called himself the old man without space before the historical partition, the strong man who left this place of return to the ruins, the strong man who has been scolding the way of heaven, the memory left behind? Old man Wukong, Xian 9th rank powerhouse. Kendo 9th order. The way of control, the 8th order. The way of infinite, the 8th order. The laws of space, great perfection. The law of death, great perfection. The law of life, great perfection. After reading through the memory, Duan Lingtian was very knowledgeable, but he couldn't help but take a deep breath. Is the strong man before the historical partition so perverted? Wrong. As the reading memory deepened, Duan Lingtian also knew that even before the historical partition, not everyone was as powerful and defying as the Wukong old man. The old man Wukong was a super strong man before the historical partition, a top strong man. In that era, there were very few people who could compare with him. If it weren't for the thought of heaven, the world would be destroyed and returned to chaos. When he cultivates both the way of control and the way of infinite to the 9th order, he may be expected to compete with the way of heaven. These are also learned from the memory of the empty old man. As Duan Lingtian continued to read the memories of the Wukong old man in depth, he had to continue to sigh that this old man was powerful and terrifying. It's gotten to that point. The strength is so powerful that heavenly Tao trembles. In the 10,000 years of catastrophe that followed, he was so beaten that he would not dare to come again. The 10,000 years tribulation is also a means of heavenly Tao to maintain the order of heaven and earth. Non-heavenly Tao directly shot, so even the strongest 10,000 years tribulation is not as good as heavenly Tao's direct shot. However, the way of heaven seems to be limited and cannot directly deal with someone. It can only be restricted by setting rules. As for the more specific, the old man Wukong himself doesn't seem to know very well. However, when Duan Lingtian read the Wukong old man's comprehension of swordsmanship and the comprehension of the laws of space, his eyes could not help but light up. His kendo is a kendo that perfectly integrates the laws of space. As long as I can fully digest and understand his understanding of space swordsmanship, my space laws will be able to step into the realm of great perfection in the shortest possible time. Space kendo can also be further improved. This time, I really made a lot of money. Of course, Duan Lingtian also learned from the memory of the empty old man. This place of return to the ruins of the Wukong old man has been opened 3 times, and the place of return to the ruins left by people before the general historical partition has been opened once and basically disappeared. Different from those people, the old man Wukong is determined to find a successor, inherit his memory, embark on a road that surpasses him, contend with the way of heaven, and even oppose the way of heaven. Do it for real. But, what's the matter? In the memory of the old man Wukong, in the era before the historical partition, the existence of the king above the gods, although they will also face the catastrophe, but it is the catastrophe of 10,000 years. Also, if you want to step into the 7th rank of Xian, you must basically understand the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th rank before stepping into the realm of the upper gods, and the laws are perfect. Because, when the great perfection of the law and the 7th order of the heavenly Tao appear on a person at the same time, They will usher in the heavenly punishment from the heavenly Tao. The heavenly punishment will appear for the cultivation base. The kind of heavenly punishment for the cultivation of the strongest, even before the historical partition, no one can successfully pass through it. The kind of heavenly punishment of the cultivation base of the upper gods, only a few extremely talented evildoers can survive. Among them, this old man without space is included. He is the kind of heavenly punishment he passed when he was a high-ranking god, and he passed it easily. Most people, when they were in the realm of the middle gods, passed that kind of heavenly punishment and laid the foundation of the 7th rank of Zeon, so that they could respond to the state of Zeon soon after they became the upper gods. The call of Zeon's 7th order. Chapter 45-29. The era controlled by the Tao of Heaven wrong. It's all wrong. It took a long time. After reading through the memories of the Wukong old man, Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart. He knew that after the historical separation, the outside world, and even the practitioners of all realms, had gone the wrong way. Before entering the realm of the upper gods, one should first comprehend the law to the realm of great perfection, and then comprehend one of the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level. In this case, after passing the punishment, step into the realm of the upper gods, and after sensing the call of the realm of the strongest, respond to it and step directly into the realm of the superpower. In this way, as soon as you enter the Zeon, it is the existence of the 7th order of Zeon. Zeon's 7th order, what is that concept? Even the most powerful saints in the world outside the world, and even the practitioners of the world, are the Jesuan realm powerhouse, which is only the 6th rank of the strongest. Wrong. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian thought of one more thing. Contemporary cultivators, after stepping into the realm of the God King, will face the test of a 1,000-year-old catastrophe. Before the historical partition, according to the memory of the Wukong old man, it was only once every 10,000 years that he had to face a catastrophe. Also, look at the calamity faced by the Wukong old man. Every interval, the power is limited, and it should be equivalent to the power of the 2 contemporary robbery intervals. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian took a deep breath. He has already vaguely guessed something. Has the rules of heaven and earth changed? Did heaven do it? Apart from this possibility, Duan Lingtian could never think of the second possibility. Combining the memory of the old man Wukong and synthesizing the current situation, he also faintly felt that the invisible hand of Tiandao seems to be controlling this era, making it difficult for this era to give birth to the existence of the 7th order Zeon. Perhaps it's because there are old people like Wukong who can threaten the existence of heavenly Tao between the historical partitions? So, for the cultivators who appeared after the historical separation this time, he treated them as piglets and kept them in captivity, preventing them from stepping above the 7th rank of the Zeon, threatening its strength? Although this metaphor is somewhat sad for all contemporary practitioners, including saints. But it seems to be the truth. Indisputable fact. In this era, even if you know that there are such restrictions, there are still a few people who can successfully master the laws of the Great Perfection realm and the 7th order heaven and earth realm in the realm of the median god. The catastrophe once in 1,000 years, that's no joke. Before stepping into the strongest, before history was cut off, the robbery was once every 10,000 years. After the history is cut off, the robbery comes once every 1,000 years. Even if there are some middle-ranked gods, they have the intention to comprehend the law to the great perfection before stepping into the realm of the upper gods, and the 4 ways of heaven and earth can reach the 7th level. Once the catastrophe that threatens their lives arrives, will they choose to die, or choose to simply become a superior and shatter the catastrophe? The answer is obvious. No wonder this Wukong old man said, "The way of heaven is not benevolent, and it treats all things as cud dogs." Isn't that so? Duan Lingtian sighed, and there was a bit of happiness in his eyes. Fortunately, I haven't stepped into the Zeon realm. Otherwise, in this life, it will be difficult to step into the 7th order of Zeon. Even before the historical partition, there was no Zeon who stepped into the 7th order of Zeon from below the 7th order of Zeon. Even if they comprehend the law to the great perfection at the 6th level of the Xeon, and comprehend the 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level, the punishment they are waiting for will kill them. The upper gods, although facing that kind of punishment, it is still a 9-death life. But after all, there is a chance. Moreover, I have now integrated the memories of the old man Wukong. Even if I face that kind of punishment in the future, I can be considered experienced, and it will definitely not be more difficult than when the old man Wukong faced that kind of punishment. In addition, thinking of the achievements of the old man Wukong in his life, his eyes are full of heat. He used a shocking method to perfectly preserve his memory, including his various understandings of swordsmanship and even the profound meaning of laws. As long as you give me time, I can completely digest this information and have his achievements in swordsmanship and the profound meaning of law before his death. At this moment, Duan Lingshan's heart couldn't help but be restless. The previous achievements of the empty old man, Kendo, 9th order. The way of control, the 8th order. The way of infinity, the 8th order. The laws of space, the laws of death, and the laws of life have all stepped into the realm of great perfection. There are 4 ways of heaven and earth, there are only 4 in total. Except for the way of devouring, he actually realized all of them to this level? No wonder even heavenly Tao is afraid of him. Moreover, according to the memory of the old man Wukong, the reason why he was able to have the strength of the 9th rank of Xeon before his death was because he comprehended the law of life and the law of death at the same time to the realm of great perfection, and penetrated life and death. In addition to the achievements in the field of the way of control and the way of infinite, we are able to have the strength of the 9th rank of the strongest. According to his inference, if he comprehends either the way of control or the way of infinite to the 9th order, his strength will be enough to go further and reach the peak of the 9th order of the strongest. If both step into the 9th order, his strength will be on par with heaven. At that time, even if the Tao of heaven shatters the heavens and the earth, returns everything in the world to chaos, and cuts off history, it won't affect him. Duan Lingtian was inexplicably shocked. Wukong old man, too powerful. How could there be such a powerful person in the world? Moreover, it is such an incomparably powerful character, who is still forced by heaven to escape into the land of return to the ruins before the historical partition, leaving a lifetime of memories. The purpose of his doing this is to cultivate a successor who can compete with heavenly Tao. The first 2 returned to the market opened, and there were outstanding people, but he didn't like it. This time he saw me. Of course, according to his memory, in fact, his most ideal successor is the kind of person who comprehends Kendo to the 7th level, and even comprehends the law of space, the law of life or the law of death to the realm of great perfection. But he has no chance. So choose me. In his eyes, I'm barely qualified to be his successor. Duan Lingtian shook his head. In this era of heaven's restrictions, it is estimated that it is difficult to find a person who can comprehend Kendo to the 7th level at the same time, and comprehend one of the 3 laws of space law, life law and death law to the realm of great perfection. His master was gentle, and the swordsmanship should have stepped into the 7th order. However, in terms of rules, it does not meet the requirements of the empty old man. If you are not good at the law of space, the law of life and the law of death, it will be a very long process to digest the memory of the Wukong old man and make it his own. He must find a suitable successor. Duan Lingtian sighed. He knew that the opportunity he got this time might become the biggest chance he had ever had in his life. In the future, even if there are still some opportunities, it is definitely impossible to surpass this one. Lifetime memory of the super strong standing at the peak before the historical partition. What other chance can be compared with it? The rest of the time, just stay in the land of return to the ruins to digest his memory. As soon as possible, let my space law be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship, and let the swordsmanship become the space swordsmanship. Because, according to the memory of the old man Wukong, in his land of return to the ruins, the valuable things were all broken by him and integrated into the land of return to the ruins, consolidating the land of return to the ruins. In this way, there is no need for him to waste time looking for anything. Even now, he can clearly know all the mysteries of this place of return to the ruins. But it doesn't make any sense. There was nothing worth taking for him. Miss Wei. At this moment, Duan Lingtian suddenly thought of the Knight Mid-Saint from the Duan clan in the Tourmaline Holy City before coming to this place of return to the ruins this time. In his eyes, raging anger ignited. Perhaps it won't take long. I will be able to avenge you. Duan Yuwei's death, he always felt that there was a large part of his own reasons. If he hadn't asked Duan Yuwei to return to the God-defying realm with him, when he returned from the God-defying realm, he would not have appeared in that area and would not have been targeted by Duan Yuwei's enemies. Chapter 45-30. For the rest of the time, Duan Lingtian didn't go anywhere, just stayed where he was, reading the memories left by the old man Wukong. Although the memory of the Wukong old man is complete, it is perfectly integrated into his memory and becomes a part of his memory, which can be consulted in a single thought. However, the Wukong old man's perception of the four ways of heaven and earth and the profound meaning of the law cannot be inherited by mere memory. Also needs to be digested. However, after all, even the memory is there, and the speed of digestion is naturally fast. Nearly a year has passed. Duan Lingtian also stopped. The moment he opened his eyes, Duan Lingshan's eyes were filled with a few sword lights, and after a while, they disappeared. There was also a smile on his face. Although the time is still short. But my space law, obviously the entry is extremely fast. It feels like a year or two at most. My space law can be perfectly integrated into the swordsmanship, and then step into the realm of great perfection. Old Wukong was the best at space swordsmanship. It's his name with the word empty. At this time, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but remember that before he came in, the master of the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace invited him to enter the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace and gave him the name of Void Sword. No space, void. Maybe this is fate. Duan Lingtian said secretly. Now, it's almost time to go out. Thinking of this, Duan Lingshan's thoughts moved. He left the place, went outside, found an exit nearby, and went straight out. While going out, he suddenly thought of something. Then Yao Xingqian. Shouldn't he be killed by that Yao Tianqian? Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Since he got the memory of the Wukong old man, he has no longer wandered in this place of return to the ruins, and went to comprehend the laws of space and swordsmanship. However, the mortality rate this time is estimated to be not small. Duan Lingtian thought about the big movement made by the old man Wukong before he got the memory of the old man Wukong. Many people died at that time, including an invincible superior god. The invincible high-ranking named Zhengbin, who is good at the laws of the Earth system. Fortunately, I barely met the requirements of the Wukong old man. Otherwise, I would have died at his hands. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel fortunate. When Duan Lingtian came out through the exit, but in an instant, I sensed a few breaths coming. It is the few Bibo Tianfu supreme powerhouses headed by Shao Tianxi, the master of the Bibo Tianfu Golden Dragon Palace, and there are a few figures not far away that quickly gallop towards this side. However, at this moment, the faces of several people are particularly solemn. Someone came out? Palace Master Shao, is this someone who just came out? To Duan Lingtian, the few people who came over were unfamiliar faces, but it was certain that all of them were superpowers. He is a disciple of the Golden Dragon Palace that I newly invited to Bibo Tianfu. Look, the Void Sword Duan Lingtian. Shao Tianxi introduced Duan Lingtian, then looked at Duan Lingtian, and asked in front of the others, Duan Lingtian, what happened inside? Why are so many people dead? Hearing Shao Tianxi's words, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. The last time the Wukong old man took action, so many people died, and it was impossible to find nothing outside. After all, most of the group of people who went in with him were disciples of Bibo Tianfu. If they died inside, the soul beads and soul cards of Bibo Tianfu would definitely shatter. Duan Lingnan came back to his senses and shook his head. Palace Master, I'm not too sure. However, when I was inside, I did hear a loud noise coming from afar. Later, I went to investigate, but found a large area of the area is shrouded by a mysterious force, and there is no way to enter. The power Duan Lingtian said was exactly the power that the Wukong old man left behind in the land of returning ruins. In fact, that is also the power of the land of ruins. It's just that the place where the old man Wukong shot was circled in, so that other people in the land of return to the ruins could not spy on everything inside. And he came from that place. There should be a lot of people who know this too. When they come out, you can just ask them, Hallmaster. Duan Lingtian said. At this moment, those few faces couldn't help but ask, Duan Lingnan, before and after that power appeared, what abnormality can you detect? Duan Ling, have you checked that place carefully? Duan Lingtian. These few people's faces are not very good looking now, and between words, they asked Duan Lingtian about various things in the land of returning to the ruins. Just when Duan Lingtian didn't know who to answer first, Xiao Tianxi spoke up, Okay, everyone. Even if you want to ask, you should ask them one by one. Now that you are asking all these questions, how should Duan Lingtian answer? And if I want to say, if you really want to ask, it's best to wait for the rest of the people to come out before asking. We Bibo Tianfu disciples, there are still many people who have survived. For example, Yao Xingchen and others. So far, the news that Bibo Tianfu has given me is that their soul beads and soul cards have not been broken. Still alive. Following Xiao Tianxi's opening, several people became quiet. At this time, Xiao Tianxi's voice transmission came from Duan Lingshan's ear. All of them have disciples who have entered the land of return to the ruins, and they are all dead. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian was stunned, and finally understood why these people looked ugly. It turned out that their disciples all died inside. Next, in the face of these people's questions one by one, Duan Lingtian also answered one by one, and the answers were watertight. In the end, everyone was disappointed. This Duan Lingtian cannot provide him with anything of value. Duan Lingtian, a superpower behind Xiao Tianxi, after seeing Duan Lingtian idle, immediately stepped forward and took the ring from Duan Lingshan's hand. And the divine consciousness swept through, probed Duan Lingtian, and after confirming that there was nothing hidden in Duan Lingtian, he also returned Duan Lingshan's own ring to him. At this time, Xiao Tianxi asked Duan Lingtian, Duan Lingnan, I have already greeted someone and asked him to come pick you up and go back to Bibo Tianfu to go through the formalities for entering the palace. You go back with him later. He is also a disciple of the Golden Dragon Palace, the fourth disciple of my family. Xiao Tianxi said, It is good. Hearing Xiao Tianxi's words, Duan Lingshan's eyes lit up. After all, those people in the land of return to the ruins will probably only come out in 10 days, so it doesn't make much sense to wait here. At the same time, he has always had some yearning for Bibo Tianfu. After all, this is a force with strong saints. Saint. It's also a poor man. Thinking of the memory of the Wukong old man, Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart. He knows that all saints in the world outside the world, and even the 10,000 worlds, will never have the opportunity to step into the 7th rank of Xian, and they will only die under the 10,000-year catastrophe that is stronger than one time. Chapter 45-31. However, no matter how pitiful the saint is, killing me now is just a matter of snapping your fingers. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian laughed at himself. Now that he, let alone stepping into the realm of the strongest, has not even comprehended the realm of great perfection, how can he be qualified to talk about the saint? Moreover, if he met the saint now, he could not wait to ask the other party to take action and release the imprisonment of the soul originating from the Soul clan for his wife Kir. Soon, the fourth disciple under his sect that Xiao Tianxi said came. It was a young man in a blue robe, with a resolute appearance and angry eyes. After he came over, he hurriedly saluted Xiao Tianxi, Kui, I have seen Master. He was the fourth disciple of Xiao Tianxi. It is also one of the only 2 disciples under Xiao Tianxi's family who have not stepped into the realm of the strongest. Kui, I told you everything in the subpoena. You bring Duan Lingtian back to the mansion to go through the formalities for entering the mansion. From now on, he will be our Golden Dragon Hall disciple. Xiao Tianxi said to Qi. Yes, master. After Qi responded, he looked at Duan Lingtian beside him and said enthusiastically, Hello, I'm Qi. I'll take you back to the mansion to go through the formalities. It is good. Duan Lingtian responded and followed Qi away from Xiao Tianxi, and after confirming that Xiao Tianxi could no longer hear his words, Qi looked at Duan Lingtian enviously. Brother Lingnan, you are the first non-superpower in our Golden Dragon Hall to be honored by the gods. The one who gave the name Void Sword. Awesome. Duan Lingtian was startled. Isn't this title a name other than a name? Why should you care so much? Qi stared. Brother Lingtian, you don't know. Among the various halls in the Bibo Tianfu, only the palace guardian disciple with the highest status among the hall disciples has his own name, right? Furthermore, this title cannot be taken by oneself. It must be bestowed by the master of a hall. This point, even the palace master of our Bibo Tianfu can't intervene. The Golden Dragon Hall is the master's private plot. Although it also belongs to Bibo Tianfu, it has enough autonomy. Moreover, our Golden Dragon Hall is the top 3 temples among the 16 halls in Bibo Tianfu. Following Qi's words, Duan Lingtian also gained a further understanding of Bibo Tianfu. In the past, he only knew that Bibo Tianfu was the strength of saints, and there were saints in charge. But now, Qi told him that in the Bibo Tianfu, in addition to the normal disciples of the outer palace and the inner palace, there were also 16 temples. The temple called Bibo Temple that the current palace master of Bibo Tianfu is also in charge of, is the temple of the current palace master of Bibo Tianfu, but it is not the strongest. Like the Golden Dragon Palace, it only ranks in the top 3. The strongest hall is the one where the sage of Bibo Tianfu is located, called the Tianshui Hall. However, it is not the saint who is the master of the Tianshui Temple. That saint is just the previous generation of the temple master of Tianshui Temple, and the current temple master of Tianshui Temple is his eldest disciple and a powerful semi-sacred powerhouse. In Bibo Tianfu, Tianshui Hall, Bibo Hall and Golden Dragon Hall are the top 3 halls. Before, in our Bibo Tianfu, only Tianshui Hall and Bibo Hall had invincible superior gods. Now, with your participation, our Golden Dragon Palace finally has an invincible superior god. Don't look at the seriousness of the master. Even when he mentioned you to me, he also revealed a lot of surprise. Obviously, he didn't expect you to become an invincible high-ranking soon after he invited you into the Golden Dragon Palace. Duan Lingtian was invited by Xiao Tianxi first. Later, Xiao Tianxi brought him into the small world inside his body. In addition, Xiao Tianxi also asked the old man beside him to help him understand the laws of space, and in the discussion with the old man, he touched the threshold of the 7th rank of Kendo, and only had the strength of an invincible superior god. I asked Shizhuan why he didn't accept you as his 6th disciple. Shizhuan said that he is not worthy of being your teacher. Now, there are a total of 5 people under the master's sect. There are 2 senior brothers and 1 senior sister above me, all of whom have stepped into the realm of the strongest, and the weakest is also the 3rd rank of the strongest. My strength is estimated to be comparable to that before your breakthrough and achievement of the invincible upper god. The little junior brother behind me is a little weaker than me. However, I think his talent is better than mine, and it will be a matter of time before he catches up with me. Qi is very talkative. Duan Lingtian was on the way to Bibo Tianfu with him, and before he entered Bibo Tianfu, he basically knew the situation inside Bibo Tianfu and the situation inside the Golden Dragon Palace. However, after actually entering the Bibo Tianfu station, Duan Lingtian was still shocked by the scene in front of him. The Bibo Tianfu station is not so much a station, but rather a boundless space that is located outside the boundary, but independent of the boundary. The resident of Bibo Tianfu has always been located in the small world of the saint's body. However, I suspect that the small world in the body of the saint where Bibo Tianfu resides is not the small world in the body of the saint in the Tianshui Temple. Qi's words were said to Duan Lingtian by the sound transmission. Why? Duan Lingtian was puzzled and asked through voice transmission. Because many years ago, the master and the master of the Tianshui temple fought a real fire. In the end, the saint behind the Tianshui temple also came out to persuade him, but I feel that his power seems to be suppressed. It's like a superpower, the feeling of entering a small world in another superpower. Of course, I don't know if it's my illusion. At the beginning, I was also there. When everyone's attention was on the saint, I was also observing him, and I obviously felt this way. It was also that I realized the third order of the infinite way at the time. If I see him again now, I may be able to further confirm whether Bibo Tianfu resides in a small world within his body. Koi said, "The infinite way?" Hearing Kei's words, Duan Lingshan's eyes flickered a few times. He seldom encountered practitioners who mastered the way of infinite. However, in the memory of the Wukong old man he recently got, there is the understanding of the infinite way of the 8th order. However, he has not even absorbed the 9th order kendo in the memory of Wukong old man, so it is naturally impossible to absorb that part of the understanding of the infinite way. If Bibo Tianfu is not stationed in the small world inside the body of the saint of Tianshui temple. Duan Lingtian raised his brows. Doesn't that mean? Bibo Tianfu, there is a second saint. Kui took over and said, "Second saint." Duan Lingtian couldn't help but tremble in his heart. Chapter 45-32. Bibo Tianfu, what does it mean if there is a second saint? It means that even in the power of saints, Bibo Tianfu is an extremely powerful existence. Duan Lingtian was surprised by Kei's guess, but he couldn't help but become active, thinking about how to find an opportunity to meet one of the saints in Bibo Tianfu and ask them to help his wife get rid of the imprisoned soul. Duan Lingtian followed Kei and quickly went through the formalities for entering the palace and became a member of the Golden Dragon Palace in Bibo Tianfu. A temple guard disciple. And in the Golden Dragon Hall, he is a disciple of the temple guard who is not the strongest. If he became a disciple of the temple guardian before he became the invincible superior god, he would definitely cause gossip. Because among the 16 temples of Bibo Tianfu, the top 3 temples, it has always been the practice, are those who are not invincible high-ranking gods and the most powerful people above the 3rd rank, and cannot become temple guardian disciples. Little junior brother, this is the void sword that you wanted to meet earlier. Not long after arriving at the Golden Dragon Hall, Kei just helped Duan Lingtian arrange a place to live, that is, the place to practice, when a figure came uninvited, Kei at the door. You can let the other party in after getting Duan Lingshan's permission. Senior brother Lingtian, this is my younger brother and the 5th disciple of the master's disciple, Huang Fuping. After completing the formalities with Duan Lingtian became a disciple of Bibo Tianfu and a disciple of the guardian of the Golden Dragon Palace, and Kei's address to him also changed from Brother Lingtian to Senior Brother Lingtian. But he was a handsome young man with a bit of arrogance between his brows. He entered the door and looked up and down Duan Lingnan. You are Duan Lingnan, the law that the master said is not yet complete, but has the strength of the invincible superior god? I want to see your methods, but I don't know. Would it be convenient for you to discuss with me? I have never seen a person who has not comprehended the law to the realm of great perfection and has become an invincible superior god. Huang Fuping's eyes shone brightly, as if seeing the heart of a hunter. Little junior brother. On the other hand, Kei frowned and scolded, "Don't be rude." Senior brother Lingtian, don't pay attention to him. Kei said in a row, and at the same time did not forget to give Huang Fuping a fierce look. It's okay. Facing Huang Fuping, who was staring at him with scrutiny, Duan Lingtian smiled slyly. It is not difficult for him to guess the other party's mind, and most likely he feels that he cannot understand the invincible upper gods who have not comprehended the law to the realm of great perfection. After all, the invincible superior gods in the world are basically the invincible superior gods who rely on the laws of the great perfection realm. Wanting to rely on other means to become an invincible high ranking is difficult and difficult. Say nothing else, It is said that touching the threshold of the seventh order heaven and earth and the four realms, even if it is a saint, few people can achieve this step. Where are we chatting? Duan Lingtian looked at Huang Fuping and asked bluntly. What? Duan Lingshan's directness was straightforward, but Huang Fuping was stunned. He didn't expect Duan Lingtian to be so refreshing. No need to set a date? Huang Fuping asked subconsciously. Duan Lingan laughed dumbly. It's just a discussion, you don't need to be so troublesome. Now, I can discuss with you, you can just find a place. Huang Fuping heard the words, came back to his senses, and gave Duan Lingtian a deep look. It seems that you are very confident in your own strength. In that case, let's go to the dual space of our Golden Dragon Palace. Huang Fuping said. Dual space? Hearing Huang Fuping's words, Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment. At this time, Qi explained to him, Senior brother Lingtian, the dual space is actually the small world inside the body of the Hall Master of our Golden Dragon Halls, Yanwu Hall. The more powerful disciples in the Golden Dragon Palace compete and duel, all in the small world inside his body. In this way, you can also avoid damaging anything in the duel. After being reminded like this, Duan Lingnan suddenly realized, so it is. Let's go. Huang Fuping was also delighted to see the hunter, and wanted to see the special features of this genius who even his master praised. Duan Lingtian smiled and followed. Senior brother Lingtian. At this time, Kui's voice transmission came from Duan Lingshan's ear. My little junior brother, I'm used to being proud, but a great god like you suddenly came to the Golden Dragon Palace, so I was a little unconvinced. You don't have to keep your hands later, teach him a good lesson, so that he knows that there are days outside the sky, and there are people outside people. In the Bibo Tianfu, the 16 temples, and in a certain city government, they are all independent entities. In each temple, there are martial arts hall, law enforcement hall, internal affairs hall, etc. Duan Lingtian followed Huang Fuping all the way to the Yanwu Hall. When they arrived at the gate of Yanwu Hall, a lot of people had gathered, and they were looking forward to the direction they came from. You still called so many people? Kui frowned, looked at Huang Fuping and said, Aren't you afraid of being too embarrassed to wait? Hey. Huang Fuping smiled, Fourth senior brother, you know that I always like to be lively. The people who come here are all our disciples from the Golden Dragon Palace. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you lose. You can find your way back later. I'm afraid you won't be able to find a place in the future. Kui was angry. He heard from his master that Duan Lingtian was not even half of his younger brother's age. What is this concept? Fourth senior brother, are you so disrespectful of me? The smile on Huang Fuping's face converged and he frowned. Forget it, they'll tell you after you've been abused by senior brother Lingtian. Kui shook his head, he didn't plan to tell him this now. Duan Lingtian, please. Huang Fuping greeted Duan Lingtian, and then entered the Yanwu Hall first. Before going in, he did not forget to introduce to a group of disciples of the Golden Dragon Hall outside. This one, the object of my discussion today, is the powerhouse who was given the title of Void Sword by my master, the disciple of the Temple Guard, Duan Lingtian. It is said that he is an invincible upper who has not yet entered the realm of great perfection. Kendo, I have reached the threshold of the 7th floor. As soon as these words came out, a group of disciples of the Golden Dragon Palace were immediately stunned. The law did not step into the great perfection. Is it the invincible upper god? In the history of their Bibo Tianfu, does it seem that there has never been such an existence? The law has not entered the great perfection. Can it really have the strength of the invincible upper god? Many people have raised such doubts. Is there such strength? After watching him and junior brother Huang Fuping, we will know. If it is not for the invincible superior god, it would be difficult to defeat junior brother Huang Fuping within 100 strokes. Yeah. Even senior brother Kui, who was the strongest under the former supreme powerhouse in our Golden Dragon Palace, would not be able to defeat senior brother Huang Fuping within 100 strokes. Chapter 45-33. The head of the Yanwu Hall was an old man with a childlike appearance in a dress that resembled a Taoist robe. After Huang Fuping arrived and explained his purpose, he couldn't help frowning and persuaded, "Boy Ping, I advise you not to try to compete with that void sword. You are not his opponent." Not long ago, the hall master of their Golden Dragon Hall had already sent a message to all the hall masters, including him, about the new disciple Duan Lingtian of their Golden Dragon Hall. They also realized Duan Lingshan's extraordinariness. This temple guardian disciple who was given the title of Void Sword by their temple master is an invincible superior god. "Master Yu, it's just a discussion. I'm just curious, how strong is the genius younger than me in the mouth of master?" Huang Fuping said. And hearing Huang Fuping's words, Yu Xinye, the head of the Yanwu Hall of the Golden Dragon Palace, finally knew why this little disciple of the head of the palace wanted to discuss with Duan Lingtian. After all, he didn't want to believe that such a genius monster existed. At the same time, Qi also came in with Duan Lingtian. Qi, however, didn't know that his master had also informed his younger junior brother Huang Fuping that Duan Lingtian was younger than him, and also asked Huang Fuping to learn from Duan Lingtian. How can Huang Fuping, who is usually arrogant, accept this? Seeing is believing. He still wanted to feel for himself whether the genius in his master's mouth was really as enchanting and unparalleled as his master said. "Master Yu, this is the new disciple of our Golden Dragon Palace's guardian, the Void Sword Duan Lingtian." After Qi came in, he greeted Yu Xinye with a smile. Then he said to Duan Lingtian, "Senior brother Lingtian, this is the head of Yu Xinye Yu, the head of our Golden Dragon Hall's Yanwu Hall, and one of the 4th-tier Xians in our Golden Dragon Hall. Xian 4th Order." After hearing Qi's words, Duan Lingtian took a serious look at the old man in front of him. "You must know that the 4th Order Xian is also the 1st order closest to the semi-holy. Stepping into the 5th step is a semi-holy. Duan Ling, I have seen Hall Master Yu." Duan Lingtian greeted Yu Xinye with a smile, which made Yu Xinye a little surprised. He thought that all geniuses were as arrogant as Huang Fuping, but the one in front of him was obviously different. Perhaps, this is the reason why he can achieve such achievements at this age. While Yu Xinye secretly said he greeted Duan Lingtian with a smile, "Brother Lingtian is very talented, the hall master is very optimistic about you. If you don't want to argue with him in this competition, you can refuse." As Yu Xinye said that, he glanced at Huang Fuping who was on the side. However, before Duan Lingtian could speak, Huang Fuping glared at him and said, "Senior Yu, he has already agreed, what are you still doing here?" Yu Xinye glanced at Huang Fuping speechlessly. He just wanted to help Huang Fuping. But now, Huang Fuping is obviously not appreciative. He didn't say any more. "Palace Master Yu, it is said that we will enter your inner body to learn from the small world. Then I will trouble you." Duan Lingtian didn't say much nonsense, and said to Yu Xinye with a smile. He is very clear. For a person like Huang Fuping, there is no way to convince him with words, only fists can convince him. No trouble, just a small matter. Then Yu Xinye had a thought, and 2 invisible forces swept towards Duan Lingtian and Huang Fuping. "You too, don't deal with resistance. I will now put you into the dual space specially opened up in the small world of my body." Almost when Yu Xinye's voice fell, the figures of Duan Lingtian and Huang Fuping disappeared. At the same time, in the void in the Yanwu Hall, a mirror image appeared, and it was Duan Lingtian and Huang Fuping who appeared in a barren space. The space they were in was groggy, but there was still light enough to see their faces clearly. At their feet, there is a barren mountain range, endless as far as the eye can see, as if there is no end. Just in time. "Brother Huang Fuping, fight against our newly promoted disciple of the Golden Dragon Palace, the Void Sword. I just received a summons." It was said that this scene was cast over our Golden Dragon Hall. It seems that it was the Yu Hall Master of the Yanwu Hall who wanted to show this battle to the outside world. What? A mirror image of this scene appeared in the sky above our Golden Dragon Hall? "Hall Master Yu, do you want this battle to attract the attention of people from all major temples? You must know that when someone enters the dual space to fight, they just put the mirror image into the Yanwu Hall for the disciples of this hall to watch. Few of them put mirror images outside. Unless the duel is the strongest or Invincible Upper God Venerable. I almost forgot, our new disciple of the Temple Guardian is the Invincible Upper God Venerable. I also forgot. According to the practice of our Bibo Tianfu, if one of the dueling people is the strongest or the invincible superior god, the Yanwu Hall will tacitly display the mirror image to the outside world for the major temples to observe. In the Yanwu Hall, a group of disciples of the Golden Dragon Hall were discussing each other. Over the Golden Dragon Hall, the situation was turbulent, and the huge mirror image that suddenly appeared also shocked the quartet, attracting people from other temples to come and watch. Even, the news continued to spread. Soon, more and more people gathered in the sky above the Golden Dragon Palace. Is there a superpower in the Golden Dragon Palace who wants to take action? Impossible! You didn't see that one of the people in the mirror image is the youngest disciple of the head of Shao Hall, Huang Fuping. Could it be that Huang Fuping's current opponent, this unfamiliar face? Is that Duan Lingtian? Duan Lingtian? Yes. I heard from my master that the master of the Golden Dragon Palace has just accepted a disciple of the palace guard for the Golden Dragon Palace and given the name Void. Step Threshold. The law realizes the invincible superior god venerable in the realm of small perfection. Damn it! Is it true? Kendo touches the 7th order threshold? Even the sage powerhouse of our Bibo Tianfu seems to have not touched the 7th order threshold, right? As more and more people gathered, the news spread further. Soon, many figures appeared in the void around the Golden Dragon Hall, some of the famous people from the major temples. That senior sister Ji Qiushui from Tianshui Temple. Unexpectedly, she's here too. Senior sister Ji Qiushui's strength is not weaker than that of senior brother Kui from our Golden Dragon Hall. I didn't expect that she would come. I remember that what she is good at seems to be not the way of the sword, but the way of the sword, right? There are many similarities between swords, and it is not impossible to find the inspiration of swordsmanship from swordsmanship. At the same time, a group of Golden Dragon Hall disciples in the Golden Dragon Hall successively recognized many more famous disciples from the major temples of Bibo Tianfu. It's senior brother Xue Lang. He actually came too. Senior brother Xue Lang, the invincible superior of Bibo Hall. Chapter 45-34. There are two invincible upper gods in Bibo Tianfu. One of them was the Xue Lang of Bibo Hall. Xue Lang, like the Ji Qiushui of Tianshui Temple, is a good swordsman. The accomplishments of the two in the Tao of the Blade are similar. However, because Xue Lang comprehended the profound meaning of the laws of the Great Perfection realm and stepped into the realm of the invincible superior god venerable, his strength is much stronger than Ji Qiushui. However, if Ji Qiushui is good at the profound meaning of the law and can enter the realm of great perfection, it is really hard to say who is stronger and who is weaker. Junior sister Qiushui, you are here too. After Xue Lang arrived, he found Ji Qiushui and approached him for a while, greeting him with a smile. Both of them use knives, and they usually have the opportunity to discuss the Tao of the Blade together, but they are fairly familiar. Senior brother Xue Lang. When Ji Qiushui saw Xue Lang, he also smiled and said hello. I heard from them that the invincible high-ranking gods recruited by the Golden Dragon Palace this time are going to take action, so I will join in the fun. Brother Xue Lang is also here for him, right? Facing Ji Qiushui's question, Xue Lang nodded with a smile. I'm also curious how this disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall's new guardian, relying on the profound meaning of the law of the realm of small perfection, has the strength comparable to the invincible superior god. In the land outside the realm, and even in the contemporary world, I have never heard of anyone who can possess the strength of an invincible superior while only mastering the profound meaning of the laws of the realm of small perfection. There is such a saying. But many people say that this is just a conjecture. Hearing Xue Lang's words, Ji Qiushui said with a smile, "Does he have the strength of an invincible high-ranking god? Just take a look and you'll know?" Xue Lang nodded. At the same time, Duan Lingtian, who was standing against Huang Fuping in the dual space in the small world inside the body of the head of the Yanwu Hall, Yuxinya, in the Golden Dragon Hall, looked extremely calm. Duan Lington, since it is said that you are the invincible high-ranking god. I will take the shot first, you shouldn't mind, right? Huang Fuping asked. Random. Duan Lingtian smiled. Not to mention that Huang Fuping is not an invincible high-ranking god. Even if he is not afraid. It is good. At the same time Huang Fu answered, a spear suddenly appeared in his hand. The spear was about 8 feet long and exuded an intimidating aura. Obviously, it was also a supreme artifact. Huang Fu moved, his body was astonished, he shot out his spear. The spear shot out like a dragon, and the dazzling golden light turned into a long dragon in the blink of an eye, roaring out towards Duan Lingtian. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian did not panic. He didn't even plan to take out the 7 apertures exquisite sword. He stood there, his expression unchanged. At this moment, the divine power in his body was turbulent, one after another. The divine power of the space law was integrated, and he broke out of the body, and at the same time whistled into the void, as if he had disappeared. When Huang Fu Ping came over, Duan Lingtian disappeared in place. Appeared above Huang Fu Ping's head. At the same time, under the watchful eyes of all, in the mirror image that caught his eye, there were all swords, and the overwhelming sword light roared down, making Huang Fuping seem to be trapped in a sea of swords. No matter how he broke free, it would be useless. In the end, submerged by the sea of swords. Disappear. However, at a critical moment, the head of Yanwu Hall, Yuxinya, sent Huang Fuping out of the small world inside his body. Although, he knew that Duan Lingtian would definitely keep his hands at the critical moment. But, even so, Huang Fuping was still injured. Too fast. So fast. Extremely strong. Huang Fuping in front of him, there is no way to fight back. Golden Dragon Hall, disciples from the major temples of Bibo Tianfu, exclaimed in surprise, looking at the purple figure in the mirrored image that looked like a god. In addition to shock, there was shock in his eyes. His strength is no weaker than mine. Shui Lang's face became solemn. Sure enough, he has the strength of an invincible superior god. Moreover, his space law has indeed not yet stepped into the realm of great perfection. As for Ji Qiushui, his face was full of horror. Huang Fuping's strength, although not as good as hers, is not much worse. She wanted even Huang Fu Ping to be at least 30 strokes away. And the young man in purple in the mirror image, the new disciple of the guardian of the Golden Dragon Palace, the Void Sword Duan Lingtian, used only one move to defeat Huang Fu Ping. Terrible! When the outside world is shocked, there was also a dead silence in the Golden Dragon Hall's martial arts hall. A group of Golden Dragon Hall disciples present were a little stunned. They didn't expect that Huang Fuping, an existence that was almost invincible in their eyes, would be defeated by one move. Even Huang Fu Ping, after being sent out, still looked sluggish and his eyes were full of disbelief. Even Qi was a little shocked at this time. Although he knew that Duan Lingtian was strong, he didn't expect it to be so strong. It's definitely stronger than the average invincible high-ranking god venerable. Kui secretly said. At the same time, Duan Lingtian, who was in the small world of Yuxinya, the main body of Yanwu Hall, suddenly closed his eyes and frowned, but he seemed to be feeling something. It was also seeing this scene that Yuxinya was not in a hurry to send Duan Lingtian out. He could see, this Duan Lingtian should have realized something. Suddenly, around Duan Lingshan's body, the sea of swords reappeared, and then disappeared into the void, appears again, disappears again. Appears again, disappears again. After going back and forth dozens of times, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, and his eyes seemed to be sharper. I really didn't expect that fighting with people would actually speed up my absorption of the memories of the Wukong old man. I feel that the space law is just one step away from entering the realm of great perfection. Once the laws of space step into the realm of great perfection, the swordsmanship will officially step into the 7th order. Thinking of this, Duan Lingshan's heart couldn't help but agitate. "You Hall Master." At the same time, Duan Lingtian greeted Yuxinya, the master of Yanwu Hall. Before Yuxinya returned to his senses, Duan Lingtian had already said, I want to challenge the two invincible superior gods in Bibo Hall and Tianshui Hall. But I don't know, how do I need to go through the procedure? In a word, it attracted everyone's attention. Because Yuxinya had not removed the mirror image of the outside world, Duan Lingshan's words were also heard by the onlookers. For a while, all eyes fell on Xuelang. Hearing this, Xuelang also showed a fierce fighting intent in his eyes. At the same time, before Yuxinya replied to Duan Lingtian, he was the first to speak loudly, and the voice spread all over the Golden Dragon Hall in an instant. Duan Lingnan, I am the invincible superior of Bibo Hall, Xuelang. If you want to challenge me, you can do it now. I'm just outside the Golden Dragon Palace. Xuelang challenged directly. For a time, the eyes of the surrounding audience lit up one after another. The battle of the invincible superior gods. Just now, Duan Lingshan's strength has made them thoroughly confirm that he is indeed an invincible upper god. Chapter 45-35. Xuelang challenged. Immediately, the crowd of onlookers outside the Golden Dragon Hall were in an uproar. And soon, Duan Lingtian also left the inner world of Yuxinya, the main body of the Golden Dragon Hall, and Yukong flew out of the Golden Dragon Hall and confronted Xuelang. Duan Linggan, you just shot, it shouldn't cost anything, right? Xuelang looked at Duan Lingtian, and the fighting spirit also rose in his eyes. He is one of the two invincible high-ranking gods in Bibo Tianfu. His strength is strong. Looking at the Bibo Tianfu, under the supreme power, only the invincible high-ranking of the Tianshui Temple can shake his wrist. And now, the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu has accepted Duan Lingtian, a temple guardian disciple whose strength is comparable to that of an invincible superior god. He couldn't help but see the joy of hunting. No consumption. Duan Lingtian looked at Xuelang, and Dandan said, Xuelang, you should know the invincible high-ranking in Tianshui Temple, right? Xuelang nodded, then asked, you want to learn from him too? After you and I have finished discussing, if you want to ask him to discuss, I will arrange it for you. If you think about it, he will not refuse the opportunity to learn from you. Xuelang said, I want to talk to him. Duan Linggan nodded, then his eyes narrowed suddenly, and he said slowly, to be precise, I want to learn from the two of you. 1 against 2. 1 against 2. As Duan Lingtian said these words, although the audience gathered more and more, but now they fell into a brief silence. Even Xuelang was stunned. 1 against 2? At this moment, Xuelang even thought that he had heard it wrong. This paragraph of Lingtian said to use 1 against 2 and learn from Brother Xuelang and Brother Hanqin? Is he crazy? With his own strength, challenge the two invincible superior gods to join forces? I haven't heard of the existence outside the world, and even the 10,000 worlds, which exists under the strongest, with such courage. From my point of view, he is just grandstanding. Now, many people have walked out of the Golden Dragon Hall. The head of the Yanwu Hall, Yuxinya, was on the list. Also, Huang Fuping, who was easily defeated by Duan Lingtian just now, and Qi, who brought Duan Lingtian to Bibo Tianfu, both came out. Huang Fuping, although he has recognized Duan Lingshan's strength. However, when Duan Lingtian said that he was going to challenge Xuelang and the invincible superior Han Qin of Tianshui Temple with one enemy, he was still frightened. Transhan said to Gu, Senior brother, is this Lingtian crazy? Do you really think you can beat me easily, so you can challenge Xuelang and Han Qin with 1 against 2 at the same time? Now, when Kui heard what his junior brother said, it was rare that he didn't refute. He frowned, feeling that something was wrong. Duan Lingtian. Xuelang finally came back to his senses and looked at Duan Lingtian again, but also became particularly unkind. If you want to challenge me and Han Qin to join forces, it's not impossible. Before that though, it's best to show your strength. Defeat me one-on-one first. From Xuelang's unkind tone, he could tell that he was really angry. Can you not be angry? The dignified and invincible superior god Venerable, the ceiling-like figure under the Bibo Tianfu Supreme Powerhouse, was actually looked down upon by a guy who had just entered Bibo Tianfu and had not yet become the Supreme Powerhouse. Duan Ling Tian nodded. He could also see that Xue Lang was unwilling to see the Yellow River, and it seemed that only by defeating him first would he be willing to join forces with another invincible superior in Bibo Tianfu to learn from him. And the reason why he wanted to play against Xue Lang and that Han Chen was because he wanted to further digest the memory Wukong left him by discussing with them. Once the memory is further digested, his space law will go straight to the realm of great perfection. In addition, Kendo will go one step further and officially enter the Seventh Order. Duan Ling Tian and Xue Lang decided on the post-war. Decided to go to Bibo Hall to fight. In the Bibo Hall, there is a space plane specially used for sparring and competition. It is not a small world in the body of any one person. Duan Ling Tian will fight Xue Lang here. And followed Duan Ling Tian and Xue Lang to Bibo Hall. Behind, also followed a group of tails. Even that day, the most powerful Ji Qiushui under the invincible superior god Venerable in the Water Palace left the Golden Dragon Palace and returned to the Tianshui Palace to find her senior brother. Han Chen is her senior brother. Senior brother, that Duan Ling Tian is too arrogant. He even said that he would fight against you and Xue Lang with one enemy. Ji Qiushui said angrily to the young man in front of him. A young man, wearing a sky-blue robe with a cold face, short hair and big eyes. At this time, after hearing Ji Qiushui's words, the corner of his mouth could not help but contempt. So arrogant? I'll go to Bibo Hall with you to see. Where did he have the confidence to let out such wild words? As a person who is as famous as Xue Lang in Bibo Tianfu, his strength is not weaker than Xue Lang's existence, and Han Chen also has his own pride. And now, his pride was obviously trampled underfoot. If Duan Ling Tian was discussing with Huang Fu Ping in the Golden Dragon Hall, but it was only a small-scale onlooker. So now, the battle between him and Xue Lang has shaken the entire Bibo Tianfu. As long as Bibo Tianfu is in the station and has nothing in hand, they are basically rushing towards the Bibo Palace. The one who wants to discuss with Xue Lang is the disciple of the guardian of the Golden Dragon Palace who has just been admitted to the Golden Dragon Palace. Yes. It seems to be called Duan Ling Tian. He is a monster who has reached the seventh order threshold of swordsmanship. Before the law of space is perfect, he has the strength comparable to the invincible superior god. It's really not easy to be given a name by the Hall Master Shao of the Golden Dragon Palace. It's really not easy, but it's also arrogant. I heard that he also threatened to challenge Xue Lang and Han Chen with 1 against 2 at the same time. So crazy! Xue Lang told him that if he wants to fight 1 against 2, he will be defeated first. Xue Lang is an invincible high-ranking god. Under the supreme power, there is basically no one who can defeat him. That Duan Ling Tian is destined to be unable to realize his dream. The Bibo Hall is located. The vast square was full of people. The surrounding void was also filled with a mighty crowd. In front of the audience, in the void above the square, a mirror image appeared in front of everyone. The two figures stood facing each other. It was Duan Ling Tian and Xue Lang. Senior brother Han Chen is here. On the same day, the invincible superior god Venerable Han Chen, a disciple of the Water Temple, arrived and immediately attracted the attention of many people. After Han Chen and Ji Qiushui came together, they also joined the crowd. Chapter 45-36. As an invincible high-ranking god, Han Chen is also an absolute celebrity in Bibo Tianfu. His arrival attracted the attention of a group of people. Senior brother Han Chen, the guardian disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall, with the void sword Duan Ling Tian, actually threatened to fight you and senior brother Xue Lang with 1 enemy and 2, he is simply arrogant and arrogant. Senior brother Han Chen, are you also here to see how Duan Ling Tian was slapped in the face? Senior brother Han Chen, after the battle between Duan Ling Tian and Xue Lang, will you ask Duan Ling Tian to play against each other? As soon as Han Chen arrived, many people greeted him. Since Duan Ling Tian said that, it shows that he is quite confident in his own strength. Let's wait and see. Han Chen Dandan smiled. Now, your focus should be on Xue Lang and Duan Ling Tian, not me. The voice fell, and Han Chen's eyes fell on the mirror image in front of him. At this moment, the two people in the mirror image also moved. Although Han Chen spoke modestly, but deep in his eyes, there was still a bit of disdain. Disdain for Duan Lincoln. In his opinion, as an invincible superior god, under the supreme power, no one dares to say that he can beat him. If he joins forces with Xue Lang, no one under the power will dare to say that they can be tied with them by one enemy and two, let alone defeat them. Senior brother Han Chen, how long do you think brother Xue Lang will be able to prevail? Someone next to him asked Han Chen. Han Chendan said, "It's hard to say. After all, I haven't seen it before. Without comprehending the law to the realm of great perfection, there is a superior who is invincible. Kendo touches the 7th order threshold. I also want to see what means he can use." As Han Chen's voice just fell, the two people in the mirror image have completed the first round of tentative confrontation, and they seem to be evenly matched, as if no one is stronger than the other, and no one is weaker than the other. Seeing this scene, Han Chen's face became slightly solemn. This Ling Tian's strength was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, what surprised him even more was what Duan Lingtian said next. "Do you have this strength?" Duan Lingtian looked at Xue Lang with disappointment in his eyes. The strength of this Xue Lang is similar to that of the invincible superior god Venerable Yao Tianxian that he had previously played against in the place where the old man with no space left to return to the ruins. At the beginning, before he got the memory of the Wukong old man, his strength was no weaker than that of Yao Tianxian. Later, after obtaining the memory of the Wukong old man, his strength improved again. Insanity! Xue Lang shouted angrily and shot again. The attack became more and more fierce. As for Duan Lingtian, he didn't hold back at this time. After integrating the memories of the old man Wukong, his improved strength was fully revealed. Stuff. In the blink of an eye, a storm of sword light blew up around Duan Lingtian's body, and countless sword lights appeared in the vast void, shrouding Duan Lingtian and Xue Lang together. Xue Lang's offensive, although continuous, was completely crushed. During the whole process, Duan Lingtian's expression was calm and he looked extremely relaxed. "You are too weak." When a group of people outside looked dumbfounded, Duan Lingtian sighed softly. In an instant, the countless sword lights around him, nearly half of the sword lights close to him, all merged together, turned into a giant sword, and swept towards Xue Lang. In front of this giant sword, Xue Lang's offensive was vulnerable to a single blow, and in an instant, his entire body was also blown away, blood spurting wildly from his mouth. This scene caused an uproar from the onlookers outside. "God, what's the situation? How can that be?" Senior brother Xue Lang, he is an invincible high-ranking god. The strongest existence under the so-called supreme power. Could it be that this Lingtian is already a supreme power? Duan Lingtian is not a superpower. His divine power is only the power of a superior god. This is the strength of Kendo to touch the 7th order threshold. Moreover, looking at his space law, it seems that he is not far from the realm of great perfection. This Lingtian is too terrifying. No wonder it was given a name by the Hall Master Shao of the Golden Dragon Palace. The void sword is endless. The condensed sword breaks the falsehood. He deserves the title of Void Sword. Outside, a group of Bibo Tianfu disciples were shocked by Duan Lingtian's strength. Although, this is a new disciple who has just entered the Bibo Tianfu. However, in this world where the strong are respected, the strong are respected. This concept will not change because the other party is a newcomer. How could he be so strong? Han Chen was also watching, and his face was not very good-looking at this time. He stared at the purple figure in the mirror image, and his eyes were not only afraid, but also afraid. Too strong. Even he is not sure to deal with each other. This? Huang Fuping was stunned. Although Duan Lingtian defeated him, he did not think that Duan Lingtian had the strength to defeat Xue Lang. Now, seeing Xue Lang so miserable, he suddenly realized how blind and arrogant he was before. He, who was standing beside Huang Fuping, was also shocked by this incident. He originally thought that Duan Lingtian's strength, even if he was stronger than Xue Lang, would not be much stronger. It would not be so easy to defeat Ki. After all, Ki was an invincible high-ranking god. But now, the scene in front of him has completely subverted his past cognition of the invincible upper goddess. I kept my hand, you were only slightly injured. Chapter 45-37. Han Chen, Shui Lang, the two invincible superior gods of Bibo Tianfu. In Bibo Tianfu, they are the strongest beings below the strongest. And today, Shui Lang was defeated by a non-superior who had just joined Bibo Tianfu. And it's easy to beat. The other party invited Han Chen and Shui Lang to fight together. Now Han Chen also entered. Mirror image. Han Chen and Shui Lang stood side by side. Standing opposite, it was Duan Lingtian. Why do I think Duan Lingtian might still win? It shouldn't be. Although senior brother Shui Lang seems to be easily defeated by him, since he is not the strongest, there should be a limit to how strong he is. I also think that senior brother Han Chen and senior brother Shui Lang are teaming up, and he may not be an opponent. The onlookers outside were mainly a group of Bibo Tianfu disciples at first. Gradually, the high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu also arrived quietly. Among them, it also includes the master of Bibo Tianfu, Lord Palace Master. The appearance of Palace Master Bibo Tianfu immediately shocked many high-level officials. However, while they were saying hello, Palace Master Bibo Tianfu made another gesture, telling them not to disturb the others. Watch this battle carefully. Han Chen and Shui Lang may be defeated. Hearing the words of their palace master, the high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu all gasped. I also watched the battle just now. Tan Dan, the head of Bibo Tianfu, said, Shui Lang's strength is not far from him, but it is not close. Otherwise, he would not be able to defeat Shui Lang so easily. In addition, he insisted on asking Han Chen and Shui Lang to fight one another, and to fight him, he should also want to use their hands to hone himself. His fight with Shui Lang was short-lived. However, it is not difficult to see that his spatial laws have improved again. It's not far from the realm of great perfection. As the palace master of Bibo Tianfu, although he is not a saint of the 6th rank of the strongest, he is also a semi-sage of the 5th rank. With his unique vision, it is not difficult to see this. Good. A stern voice came, and then a figure appeared. It was none other than the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, Shao Tianxi. Hall Master Shao. Hall Master Shao. As soon as Shao Tianxi appeared, a group of people took the initiative to salute him, showing awe. Although this Hall Master Shao is younger than their senior officials of Bibo Tianfu, his strength is stronger than them, not even weaker than their Bibo Tianfu Palace Master. Junior brother Tianxi, you came back early? Palace Master Bibo Tianfu was surprised, then frowned slightly. How's the investigation going? Why did those disciples die? It's a force collision in the land of returning markets. It is suspected that the power of the masters of returning markets is the power. Shao Tianxi sighed and said, as for the reason, no one knows. This time, we can be considered as stealing chickens without losing rice. The strong man who left the land of return to the ruins is simply looking for someone to bury him. There was a bit of anger in the eyes of Bibo Tianfu Palace Master's words. This kind of thing can only be considered unlucky. Shao Tianxi sighed. Otherwise how? Not to mention the powerhouses who left the land of ruins, they were all superpowers before the historical partition. They wanted to find each other, but there was nothing they could do, because the other side had already perished. Even if you take 10,000 steps back and say that the other party is not dead, if you find him, can you still settle accounts with him? Are you his opponent? Okay, let's stop talking about this. Let's take a look at the performance of your guardian disciple of the Golden Dragon Hall. Palace Master Bibo Tianfu's gaze returned to the mirror image in front of him. This time, you, the Golden Dragon Palace, have found a treasure. Shao Tianxi heard the words, although his mouth was modest, but the proudness raised at the corners of his mouth could not be concealed. On the other side, the senior officials of Bibo Tianfu had already begun to congratulate Shao Tianxi. Duan Lingtian faced Han Chen and Xuelang with a calm expression, and Gu Jing had no waves. With a move in my heart, I secretly said, it shouldn't be a problem to beat them. However, my purpose is not as simple as defeating them. I have to rely on them to spar with me. Let them be my whetstones, so that I can further digest the memories left by the Wukong old man and make my strength further. Because of these thoughts. Therefore, after Han Chen and Xuelang took the lead, he just dealt with them as much as possible and did not directly explode all his strength to seize the upper hand. From an outsider's point of view, Duan Lingtian was faintly at a disadvantage in this instant confrontation. Is Duan Lingtian about to lose? As expected of the two invincible upper gods of our Bibo Tianfu, they are invincible when they join forces. Senior brother Han Chen and brother Xuelang are too strong. A group of Bibo Tianfu disciples were extremely excited. Compared to Duan Lingshan's victory, they naturally hoped that Han Chen and Xuelang would win. He didn't use all his strength. As for the powerhouses of Bibo Tianfu, all the existences above the fourth rank of Xian, it is not difficult to see that Duan Lingtian is not doing his best. He didn't even have the strength to easily defeat Xuelang before. Duan Lingtian, use all your strength. Xuelang snorted coldly. At this time, he felt humiliated. He joined forces with Han Chen, but he didn't win this Lingtian for a long time. Unlike Xuelang, who had felt Duan Lingshan's true strength, it was certain that Duan Lingtian had left his hand now. When Han Chen heard Xuelang's words, his expression changed slightly. He did not doubt Xuelang's words. He still keeps his hand? For a while, Han Chen became more serious. And Duan Lingtian didn't know if he heard Xuelang's words, and his true strength gradually showed. In this process, whether it was Xuelang or Han Chen, they did everything they could, and even in the end, even the power of blood was motivated by them and showed it. Two violent forces continued to impact Duan Lingtian. And Duan Lingtian, in the duel with the two, kept quickly digesting the memories of the Wukong old man. So it is. It's very simple. Why didn't you find it before? Here, that's how it is. This place is not as complicated as I imagined. Duan Lingtian, in the confrontation with the two, felt the pressure that the two brought him, and absorbed and digested the memories and insights that the old man Wukong left him under the pressure. During the battle, his perception was improving every moment. When his perception has risen to a critical point, and he is about to rush past like a wreck, he forced himself to stop. Can't break through here. Once the breakthrough is made, not only the space law will step into the realm of great perfection, but also the swordsmanship will completely step into the seventh order. By then, even between the historical partitions, the terrifying catastrophe that few high-ranking gods can survive is coming. Thank you both. Duan Lingtian let out a soft drink, and the sword lights in the void all around his body suddenly gathered together, turned into a strong light, and then shone out. It is radiant and exudes extremely terrifying power. In one fell swoop, Han Chen and Xuelang, two invincible high-ranking gods, were sent flying. His current strength is not weaker than the existence of the First Order Xian. How is this possible? He is indeed only a high-ranking god. Without entering the powerhouse, has the strength comparable to the powerhouse? How did he do it? In the land outside the realm, and even in the history of all realms, I have never heard of such an alien. The layman watches the fun, the layman watches the doorway. Now, even the palace master of Bibo Tianfu and the palace master of the Golden Dragon Palace are all horrified. Obviously, they were all frightened by Duan Lingshan's last burst of power. Chapter 45-38. After Duan Lingtian went out, he found that Xiao Tianxi, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, was also there, and he quickly greeted him. Under the leadership of Kui, he arrived at the teleportation array in Bibo Tianfu to Wanjia. Sent to the anti-god realm. He wants to go back to the god realm to break through. According to the memory of the empty old man, this breakthrough, it is best to return to the realm where he was born. The power of the realm, to a certain extent, can help you turn your calamity away. Although it's a drop in the bucket, it's better than nothing. Back to the anti-god realm again. The current Duan Lingtian, even the most powerful person who guards the teleportation formation in the anti-god realm, is quite polite to him when he sees him. The last time Duan Lingtian returned with a half-sage, he shocked the entire anti-god realm, causing all the superpowers in the anti-god realm who had originally wanted to fight the Shin Yunquan idea in Duan Lingshan's hands, to die. Anti-god realm. Returning to the anti-god realm again, Duan Lingtian thought of the former semi-sacred powerhouse Duan Yuwei without any surprise. Sister Wei. As long as I succeed in this calamity, the day I step into Xi'an is the time for me to avenge you. In Duan Lingshan's eyes, an icy killing intent suddenly burst out, and the cold light flickered, as if it could penetrate the heavens and the world, cross the obstacles of space, and lock the person who killed Duan Yuwei in the past. With the memory of the empty old man. Now, he can attract the heaven and earth, the seventh order of the four realms, and the great perfection law in one calamity. As long as the calamity is successfully broken, he will become the first existence in the contemporary era of myriad realms to take this step. After taking this step, as long as he steps into the realm of Xi'an, he is directly the existence of the seventh order of Xi'an, enough to push the world horizontally and be invincible in the world. Of course, this is not the end for him. The memory of the empty old man, as long as he further becomes his own, steps into the ninth rank of Xi'an, and even reaches the level of parity with heaven, it is just around the corner. According to the memory of the empty old man. The famous fierce places in the anti-god realm, and the three most dangerous fierce places, are not exclusive to the anti-god realm, but are connected to the heavens and the world. Azura Hell is one of them. Duan Lingtian is no stranger to Azura Hell. In the past, his master was light-hearted, that is, after escaping into the Azura Hell, he returned with a shocking encounter and regained his position as the Emperor of Heaven. There his master gained a lot. Even later, he went to that place with his master and successfully walked out of the Time Law Road, and now his Time Law attainments are not low. It's just not as good as the laws of space. Duan Lingtian returned to the god-defying realm. Xiao Mubai, the realm master of the anti-god realm, received the news immediately. However, after learning that Duan Lingtian came back alone, he didn't pay much attention. In his opinion, Duan Lingtian was originally a person from the god-defying realm. It was normal for him to travel back and forth to the god-defying realm. Therefore, even if Duan Lingtian entered the Azura Hell, he did not know. Shura Hell. Thinking that when he entered the Azura Hell, there were many crises, but now, all the way is unimpeded, Duan Lingtian had to feel that time passed so quickly. In a blink of an eye, he already had the strength he has now. According to the memory of the old man Wukong, even if it is a strong saint, that is, the existence of Jiezun, the existence of the sixth order Xi'an, and the power of the soul, compared with the fifth order Xi'an, it is not much stronger. That is to say, even the strongest sage in the world can't get rid of Kir's imprisoned soul. With the existence of the seventh order Xi'an, the soul can be further sublimated. At this level, it is enough to easily let Kir escape the suffering of soul silence. Because of this understanding, therefore, Duan Lingtian is eager to take this critical step. Otherwise, with his character, he would not have provoked and challenged the two invincible superior gods of Bibo Tianfu one after another on the day he entered Bibo Tianfu. Before Duan Lingtian left, he quickly spread the word about defeating the two invincible high-ranking gods of Bibo Tianfu with less than the cultivation of the strongest. The news spread, and the quartet shook. All forces know that the Golden Dragon Hall of Bibo Tianfu has reached the seventh order threshold of Kendo, and even the laws of space are about to be consummated. Even in the upper three realms with the most lofty status among the myriad realms, many strong people have received news. However, after receiving the news, they shook their heads in unison. I'm afraid it won't be long before another Tianjiao perishes. The seventh order of the four paths of heaven and earth, the space law of the great perfection realm, cannot coexist. If you step in together, you will be provoking the way of heaven and will be obliterated by the way of heaven. The will of heaven is the will of heaven. The will of heaven cannot be violated. In the upper three realms, for countless years, such existences, although rare, have not never appeared. However, those existences, without exception, all died under the catastrophe. It's as if the way of heaven is not easy for this heaven and earth to have such a heaven-defying existence. In particular, a group of realm powerhouses from the upper three realms. They are even more aware of this. Among them, there are also some people, in fact, the four worlds have also faintly touched the threshold of the seventh order, but they dare not step in. Because they all know that once they step in, they will usher in death. Unless the 10,000-year catastrophe that appears becomes more and more unstoppable as the years go by, and you want to take advantage of it, you will generally not provoke the way of heaven. However, the powerhouses in the history of the upper three realms, without exception, all died and vanished. High-ranking gods, taking this step and facing the catastrophe, although far less terrifying than the catastrophe faced by the strongest who took the step, but for the superior gods, it is also a devastating blow. In the past, in our realm, it was not that there was no existence of the upper gods who took the step, but they still died and disappeared. Although, the history before the historical partition and the current history are completely disconnected. Almost everyone does not know the truth of the year. However, there are still some people who have discovered this problem and the records have been passed down. No one thinks that Duan Lingtian can take the most critical step. They all felt that as long as he dared to take that step, he would surely die. If I were him, I wouldn't try to take that step. Once the four realms of heaven and earth step into the seventh order, the law will be perfect, and it will be forever. Yeah, he might as well separate the relationship between Kendo and space law, and only step into the great perfection of space law, and Kendo will not go any further. In this way, after stepping into the realm of the strongest, he will also be a myriad world, even outside the world, one of the strongest saints and powerhouses. In the current Duan Lingtian, space law and space swordsmanship are integrated, and it is obviously no longer a secret that they promote each other. After all, the high-level officials of Bibo Tianfu are not blind. Naturally you can see this. In Shuras Hell, Duan Lingtian found a place near the edge of the anti-god realm, and began to let go of his intentional suppression of Kendo and space laws. Let the swordsmanship and the laws of space go further together. The law of space, great perfection. Kendo, seventh order. There is no need to focus on any one point at all. Now that the restrictions are released, the two will step in together. And at this moment, Duan Lingtian only felt that his soul seemed to have been sublimated in an indescribable and extremely exaggerated way, making his perception seem to have been enhanced several times, or even 10 times, at this moment. In an instant, on Duan Lingtian, divine power rose up on his own and turned into a huge sword light. Thousands of tiny sword lights shot out from the surroundings, sweeping across the four directions, causing everything in the four directions to be destroyed. In the blink of an eye, a large vacuum zone appeared around Duan Lingtian's body. That's right, it's a vacuum. This is not Duan Lingtian's intention to shoot. This power. Duan Lingtian began to try to control this force that seemed to be able to destroy the world. And in this very moment, boom, suddenly, there was a roar that seemed to be able to pierce the sky, but it was the calamity that wanted to kill Duan Lingtian and other abnormal numbers. My power I want to control, are you still reluctant? Tian Dao, is it so domineering? Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed with chills, and with a cold smile, he continued to control the power of qualitative change in his body, ignoring the threat of heavenly Dao at all. And with Duan Lingtian doing this, the movement on the horizon is even bigger. It seems to carry the power of the world-destroying power, swept in from outside the God-defying realm. Humph! And Duan Lingtian, who had been prepared for a long time, suddenly stared at his eyes, and all the strength that was ready to go swept out. The whole person stands in the void. In his hands, the raging power condensed, and finally turned into a sword that exudes a breathtaking breath. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.